So what if you could connect a whole series of massive global disasters? We're talking everything from a mini ice age to a mega earthquake, and understand them through one single framework. And what if that framework could also offer a solution by blending ancient wisdom with modern science? Well, that's the wild idea we're digging into today. Let's get right into it.
All right, so the research we're looking at kicks off with a pretty serious warning. It's not just about one crisis, but a whole cascade of them, a perfect storm, all predicted to come to a head right around the year 2025. So what exactly are we supposed to be looking at?
First on the list is a really chilling prediction, a potential mini ice age starting in 2025. The theory says this is tied to the North Pole's polar vortex collapsing, which then gets supercharged by these intense La Niña cold waves. And the Himalayas? They're pointed to as being one of the regions that's going to get hit really hard.
But wait, there's more. At the exact same time, the research is forecasting some of the most serious floods the Himalayas have ever seen. And this isn't just a bad rainy season, it's supposedly because of a historic, fundamental shift in the monsoon patterns, something that could literally rewrite the climate map for the whole region.
And to top it all off, as if that wasn't enough, the research also warns about a mega earthquake shaking the Himalayan region. We're talking a potential 8 or even 9 on the Richter scale, which is just catastrophic. So, you've got these three huge events, and together they form the core of the crisis this theory is trying to solve.
So you have to be asking, what could possibly trigger the floods, right? Well, the research zeroes in on one single critical atmospheric event that it says is the trigger, the domino that could start this whole chain reaction.
And that event is something the source calls cloud blasting. Let's just walk through this step by step. First, really high temperatures push the monsoon clouds way higher into the sky than they normally go. This extra altitude means, for what they say is the first time in modern history, the clouds can actually travel over the Himalayas. Now, here's the crucial part. All that rain that's supposed to fall on North India, it doesn't. Instead, the clouds keep going, reaching the dry lands of Tibet. And when they get there, they don't just rain, they blast, just dumping unbelievable amounts of water all at once, which causes these massive, sudden floods on both sides of the mountains.
Okay, so we've got these huge, terrifying physical problems. The solutions that are proposed are, well, they're pretty unconventional. To really get them, we have to first understand the unique foundation they're built on. It's a framework that tries to pull together some very different worlds.
The heart of this framework is a concept called Philselfology. You can see the definition here. It's about using philosophy, psychology, and science all together on the same problem. The thinking is, hey, a crisis this complex, one that involves nature, how people think, and the laws of physics, you just can't tackle it from one angle alone. You need all three.
So how in the world do you connect something like philosophy with hard physics? The proposed bridge is a field called cymatics, which is the study of how sound and vibration can create visible patterns. Think of it like this. If a certain frequency can make sand form a beautiful, complex shape, then maybe, just maybe, similar underlying patterns exist in our thoughts and in society. It's like looking for a universal language that connects everything.
The last piece of this theoretical puzzle is something called the Gurmukhi metric system. Now, this is a framework that's over 500 years old, based on the Gurmukhi script, and it links together elements, language, and even music. In this theory, it acts as a kind of ancient instruction manual for decoding the patterns that cymatics shows us, giving a practical system to analyze these huge crises.
Okay, that was a lot of abstract theory. So how does any of this actually translate into real-world solutions for real people? Well, the research takes these big ideas and applies them directly to a very tangible problem, the constant, devastating regional floods.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because the solutions are super specific. For the Ghaggar-Hakra River floods in Punjab, the proposals talk about managing the Bakra Canal, the river, and Patiala city drainage as one single system. They suggest practical things like seasonal farming right near the riverbanks and creating a managed way to link sewer streams into the main waterways. Education is a big piece of it too, developing online courses for crisis management. And you know, this isn't some brand new idea. The source points out that these proposals were first sent to governments way back in 1989. To really feel the urgency behind all this research, this personal story from the 1993 Patiala flood is just incredibly powerful. It says, "We seemed to be on threshold of death when, at the last moment, the broken part of the river was repaired. A resident brought good news to crying people that the city was safe.
This shows you this isn't just an academic exercise. It's rooted in the very real life and death experience of surviving a disaster, and that gives this work a really profound human weight.
So from these very specific crises and solutions, the research zooms all the way back out one last time. It offers a vision for the future, predicting a totally new global paradigm that could actually grow out of all this chaos.
This timeline really lays out the whole grand vision. It starts with that early research back in the late 80s. Then it points to right now, 2020 to 2025, as this critical, chaotic period of crisis and transition. But here's the hopeful part. The prediction doesn't end in disaster. From 2025 onwards, the source sees the start of a whole new era, one of science, peace, and harmony, all because the world's scientists finally come together to solve our biggest problems.
And that really brings us to the big, provocative question at the very heart of all this. Is it possible that ancient wisdom, when you combine it with new, unified theories like these, could actually give us the answers to our world's most complex and scary crises? The research we've looked at today seems to suggest that, yeah, maybe it can. What do you think?